Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme: the post-split fixtures have been revealed. Celtic could win the title at home to Aberdeen on May 8th. The countdown to the Scottish Cup semi-finals continues here on this programme, and Alan Stubbs says Hibs can turn the heat up on Falkirk with a win at Easter Road tonight. That's just a few of the talking points on the programme. Alan Ruff is with me, Peter Martin, and I'm delighted our bookroom guest is Mark Guidi. Lots to talk about. The post-split fixtures have been revealed. More often than not, it makes it exciting, Ruffy, but this time, by the time we get to Celtic Aberdeen on the May 8th, it's just really a kind of coronation for Celtic when you consider the lead they have now and the fact that Derek McInnes has all but given up on Aberdeen winning the title now.
Yeah, I think if Aberdeen have any hope at all, it would need to be a dramatic slip-up for Celtic. And obviously, if they were to, but you can't see it, they haven't done it this year. The big games are obviously Hearts at home to Celtic, and then Aberdeen have got Celtic the next week. So if you're an Aberdeen supporter, you're praying that you could maybe claw back 6 points there, but it would have to be a dramatic change, and you would think Aberdeen would have to win every one of their games.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the way the SPFL announced that the computer was deciding on the post-split fixtures. That's maybe just a precursor to next season, just to let everybody know that there'll be no human handling the post-split fixtures, because it's going to be a different story next season, Mark.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when we've got the Celtic Rangers games back, but for the immediate future, Peter, I'm just disappointed that we don't have a title race anymore, because I was looking forward to post-split. Imagine these fixtures coming out when Celtic playing Aberdeen. When they go to Tynecastle, when are they going here, when are they going there? And unfortunately, because of Aberdeen's defeats, and Celtic have picked up a bit of form, the title race is over. So credit to Celtic, to Ronnie Dyer and his players, but also credit to Derek McInnes and his players for giving us something for 9 months of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have a look at the table, it's tight at the bottom end of it, and I can see Hamilton Accies against Kilmarnock on the 30th of April could be one of those key games, Ruffy, as far as the bottom and the playoffs concerned.
Yeah, I've said all along, I think we're looking at Dundee United now, and again, it would have to be the same circumstances with them. They would have to go on a remarkable run there, because Hamilton and Kilmarnock have showed that they've got them in it now to win a game. And we saw the difference when you get these 3 points in the league. It can just take the pressure right off of you. So yeah, I think that'll be a massive game.
I still like the split and the playoffs, Mark. I don't think we should tinker with things too much.
No, Peter, I'm a big fan of our setup, a top 12, then the split, and then the playoffs and the championship, directly one, directly going up, then 2, 3 and 4 involved in players. So like I've said, unless the TV companies are going to come and offer our authorities tens and tens of millions to change it, then stick with what we've got. We've got a decent product. There's a bit of excitement. Unfortunately, we don't have a title race, but as you say, at the bottom, Dundee United, Hamilton, Kilmarnock, possibly Inverness, if they don't win tonight, all in the mix.
Yeah, of course, it's a big game for Inverness, as Mark alluded to there, and of course Hearts. They still have an outside notion that they can catch Aberdeen, Ruffy.
Yeah, well, I think everybody was taken by surprise with the Inverness score at the weekend. I think we all thought that Dundee United had really something to play for, but it never materialised. So that 3 points has given them a wee bit of breathing space. But as Mark said there, we've said all along, 15 points is a lot of points. The manager will be saying to the players, look, if we can go on some kind of run with teams run about our same level, we can claw ourselves out any mess that they're in.
Yeah, we'll talk Scottish Cup semi-finals in a moment, but one of the worrying aspects of some of the stories of the last couple of days that's starting to obviously gather pace with Celtic and Rangers in mind is we have, Hearts obviously are going to spend money. How much money next season we do not know. We've got, more than a few players coming out and saying they should be challenging Celtic. So that automatically leads to the question, how much are they going to spend? Then you've got Willie Miller saying that he thinks they should back Derek McInnes in a big way. We've got Walter Smith today suggesting that Mark Warburton should get as big a backing as he did when he was Rangers manager. Now, I hope there's prudence in mind, you know, with this, Mark, and we're not going back down that road again of trying to reach fans' expectations, because that takes you into all sorts of financial trouble.
Yeah, and I think that if you look around the owners, stroke chief executives of the clubs, whether it be Aberdeen, Hearts, Rangers, Celtic, most of them have been involved, if you want to call it, the bad old days, albeit it was great when you were going down south and signing players, and Aberdeen were spending £1 million in a player and stuff like that, but we can't go back to that. Another thing as well about it, Peter, is the banks won't allow that to happen. The banks won't give you an overdraft facility to accommodate things like that. So unless you've got owners or wealthy benefactors that are going to put in their own money to bankroll this, and that ain't going to happen either. So it will be sensible, and it keeps it all in a fairly even keel. The big thing could be if Celtic into the Champions League this season, that's that £15 million jackpot that would give them the spending power just to go and really make a go of it and break away and put a right bit of distance between themselves, Rangers, Hearts and Aberdeen.
Yeah, I mean, what do you make of Walter's comments? Because the one real imponderable here is Dave King and how much money he's going to put in, if at all, in the summer, Ruffy. You know, slowly but surely, regardless of the result of this match at Hampden on Sunday, the Rangers fans will then turn their attention to, you know, we want to challenge for the title.
Yeah, and as Mark said there, that there'll be two different objectives. Of the objectives from the supporters who want everything. You know, they want to win the league, they want to go into Europe, but I would like to think the new owners at Rangers have been through the last 4 years and will act responsibly, and that is the bit that we don't know what acting responsibly is. You know, what kind of money are we talking about? What kind of player the Rangers supporters will be looking at? What kind of players coming in? They've identified obviously 2 or 3 recently, but that's what they'll be hoping for in the close season. They'll be looking for some indication of where the money's coming from.
And Graham Souness, yesterday you were in his company, Mark. He mentioned the fact that although there are some people who would gloat on the demise of Rangers, certainly from Celtic's point of view it had implications for them, and he rhymed off more than a few players. Wanyama, of course, Van Dijk, who's had to go, Foster's had to go because of the lack of the money that Rangers would bring to the top flight. Now you're in a situation, as if to highlight that even more, you're looking at sellable assets. Near Beaton seems to be the next one in the conveyor belt who's been targeted by English clubs.
Yeah, he's had a decent season. I think he had a very good spell for 2 or 3 months earlier, Peter. The last 2 or 3 months I don't think he's quite reached that standard again. He's on the radar. Is he a £10 million player? No, he's nowhere near it. If Celtic into the Champions League, he's got the potential to become a Wanyama or something like that kind of thing. But the bottom line is, if you look through historically, clubs down south don't pay £10 million because you play well against Motherwell or Kilmarnock or Partick Thistle. It's about doing it on the big stage, and Celtic haven't been on the big stage for a couple of years now, so they have to get back to that. In terms of Graham Souness' comments, I think Celtic would have sold those players anyway for that kind of money.
Yeah.
And because as well the players pushed it, you know, the players wanted to go. At the end of the day, they outgrow Scottish football. They've not left to go to bigger clubs, but they've gone to play in a bigger environment that can double or treble their wages, and that's always going to happen now because of the money that's down south.
Yeah, am I missing something here, Mark? On Graham Souness mentioned that he tips Mark Warburton to stay in the summer. I think Mark Warburton knows himself he's got a job to do to try and prove that he can cut it in the top flight. I don't think anybody down south will be looking and thinking you've won the championship, suddenly you're somebody we must have.
No, you would like to think that he's a manager went in there to a massive club. You would like to think that since he's been there, he's had a relatively successful time and he'll be enjoying every minute of it. And being in football, I would think you would like to think he would want to test himself. He'll know what's there for next year. He'll know everything that's going to be thrown up, and there'll be things he'll have to go through that he's never went through before. Obviously, Aberdeen, Hearts, Celtic, and there'll be the challenge there. I mean, we've already talked about the expectation of the supporters, you know, and I'm sure being in football, you would want to enjoy that task.
Yeah. What did you make of Kenny's point that if he lost the Old Firm game, then Ronnie Deila would be harsh, even if he lost that, to be sacked if he wins the league?
I don't think Ronnie Deila can afford to lose to Rangers, Peter. If Celtic did lose on Sunday, there would be cries from to go right away from supporters. However, unless Celtic could get the man that they want longer term, if it comes to that, to come in right away, then I think Ronnie Deila and his coaching staff would still deserve the chance to see the league title over the line and then review it from there. But if he loses to Rangers, which I don't think he will, I think Celtic will win the game. However, that would cause him a serious problem.
Okay. Lots more to talk about coming up in the next part of the programme. Hibs against Falkirk, Champions League football, and of course the Scottish Cup semi-finals, all after the break. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on STV Edinburgh, STV Glasgow. Alan Ruff and Mark Guidi are with me here in the studio. We'll talk about Inverness against Hearts. Did I get your prediction on that one, Ruffy?
I think Hearts have still got something to go for.
Yeah.
I think they've got. I know Inverness got a good result the weekend, but I think Hearts might sneak that one.
Hibs, it's a real dilemma for many of us looking on and wondering what's happened. What is the reason for the crash as they prepare for a semi-final? And of course, tonight looking to get that vital win over Falkirk to try and still finish second, Mark.
I think, Peter, that they put so much into that kind of 4 or 5 month period from maybe October onwards. They managed to claw back the gap in Rangers and get within touching distance. But they've got a good squad. The Hibs board have backed Alan Stubbs. You know, they've given them a fair amount of money to spend and bring in on wages for good players. So what Alan Stubbs will be wanting now is just for them to go and kick on and have a strong finish. It starts tonight, it kicks on into Saturday, and Hibs can still have a season beyond their wildest dreams. Peter, although it's not looking great just now, they can recover. They're good enough players to recover, but it has to start tonight. If they win tonight, I can see them kicking on. If Falkirk avoid defeat tonight, Hibs don't win, then I can see it being a major problem for Hibs between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Ruffy, as you see the table in the Championship, they've got those 2 games in hand. They just need to get back to the form that we witnessed earlier in the season.
Yeah, exactly what Mark's just said there. As I was saying to you, I was at the Hibs Player of the Year at the weekend there, and Alan Stubbs got up and addressed the fans that were there, and he said exactly what Mark has said here. This season isn't over. This season's got everything to play for. Okay, we've been a wee bad run there, but things can change very quickly. They're still going to be in the playoffs, which was one of their objectives. They're in the cup, you know, which obviously might not have been. So he was telling the fans, look, just hang on in there, keep behind the club. And I think it depends on how much the players believe in Alan. And listening to him, I would think the players in the dressing room will believe that they can win most of the games that they're going to play.
He's an impressive man, isn't he?
Yeah.
Stubbs, he has got a bit about him. And I think if Hibs are to win on Saturday, Peter, if they beat Dundee United, they would fancy their chances against Celtic or Rangers. They give either side a right good game, so you could see them possibly getting promotion through the playoffs, a League Cup final, and having a right good chance of the Scottish Cup.
Has Stokes been a disappointment, Ruffy?
No, I don't think so. I think any time we've saw him, you know, he's dealt with everything that's been thrown in front of him. And as I said, I got the impression for the players that it's a happy place to be in, even when they're not playing particularly well. You know, the players were still quite jovial and looking forward to the games ahead.
Yep. You mentioned Saturday. They're coming up against a Dundee United side that, again, it looks as if it's a forlorn hope to stay. I think even Mexio Patalainen has conceded that. And now you have a situation where Gavin Gunning, suddenly a regular in the team, has left by mutual consent, which for me tells you there's a story underhand.
Yeah, there'll be a story will come out about that one. I'm sure it's never as straightforward as the statements make out. But yeah, you know, Dundee United, they were looking good, couple of good results, and they go to Firhill last week, lose, and then they've got the game on Saturday. They had to win at home against Inverness. They lost the game. I think they're now down, Peter. We can safely say that they're down. They can still win the Scottish Cup, but it's no consolation. If Dundee United are lost, there's, you know, financial implications that are serious for the club. There'll be job losses, there'll be all sorts of different things. And the other thing too is, regardless of who is in that championship with them next season, there is no guarantee that they'll come straight back up. Yeah.
Because I've worked with you for such a long time, Mark, I can appreciate that forthright opinion. In the last couple of years, I've become used to Dundee United can still escape the drop and win the Scottish Cup and possibly qualify for the Champions League, and that is Alan Ruff, the total polar opposite of opinion.
Aye, you're going to get a meal and a bevy. You should be happy.
Exactly. Ruffy, there you have it. There's a man who's nailed it, while you still say they can be saved.
I mean, it doesn't look on paper as if they can, but they can
Ruffy
be.
still thinks we gyms in
They
there.
can be. Honestly, I mean, who have they got?
Oh, Ruffy, I've never met anybody who can argue something that's a complete lost cause. Okay, who's winning that semi-final? Is it Hibs for both of you?
I think it depends on tonight. I think it depends on what happens tonight. I think if Hibs were to win that one, they would go into the game on a good frame of mind. It'd be tight. I think it'd be a tight game, a really tight game. But obviously, I'm biased towards Hibs, so I'll take Hibs.
Yeah, I won't sit in the fence. I genuinely think you could toss a coin,
Yeah.
Peter. You really could, but I think I'll go for Hibs after extra time on Saturday.
Yep, Hibs after extra time. Okay, and now the point which usually brings so many people's wrath, the other semi-final.
Yeah, I just need to go now.
The other semi-final on.
The thing about it is, we'll be talking about it every night this week. So I went for Celtic last night. So
a draw tonight.
It's one of those situations where, and again, I've mentioned it time and time again, and undoubtedly will continue to mention it. Everything is under a microscope with it. Mm-hmm. Now we've got the pitch, which again is going to be relayed. Whether the company who put it down in the first place are going to give them some sort of discount or not any charge whatsoever. It's been relayed on more than a few occasions at key points where big games are concerned. I hope it doesn't, I hope it is not ruined on the Saturday and affects the spectacle of what we hope will be a very good football game on the Sunday.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We have got our two showpiece semi-finals of the season coming up in the biggest competition. So you've got your William Hill Scottish Cup semi-finals, and you want them to be played in the best possible conditions. There's going to be a great atmosphere. You'll get more than 30,000 certainly there on Saturday for Hibs and United. You have a full house, and you want them to be playing. You don't want the story to be about the pitch or the surface. You don't want to be given any set of players an excuse to go and blame the Hampden surface, because there'll be two losers, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. But I think it'll be fine. It's been addressed just now, and I'm sure it'll be taken care of, and I'm sure that everything will fall into place in time for the weekend, and we'll get two cracking games of football.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope there's no excuses. And I said last night, I hope we're all on Monday talking about the football. I hope we're not talking about the pitch or anything else that comes along with it. And I think we will get two very good games at the weekend. And they're relaying the part on the Saturday night as well for the Sunday. Did they just leave?
Depends how cold it is.
Yeah, don't rule that out, Ruffy. The madness continues. Who are the key players for you on this Sunday?
Oh, well, it's an intriguing battle, Peter. I'm looking forward to seeing if Mark Warburton is just a little bit more cautious in terms of the full-backs, because we all know that Tavernier and Wallace bomb on, and it makes for entertaining football and good attacking football, but he's up against a higher quality of player. I think he'll just stick to his guns and go with it, and in many ways I hope he does, but I think that's just playing into Celtic's hands. So in the wide areas, for me, it's going to be interesting. You've got Tavernier and Wallace one side of the pitch, you've got Lustig and Tierney coming forward, and you've got the attacking midfielders in between. So listen, it'll make for a cracking spectacle. I think it'll be an open game, and I think that both managers will go for it. I think they'll just go out there, tell their players to express themselves and go and win the game.
Yeah, I take your point on that with potentially Roberts and could be Gary Mackay-Steven, could be Chris Commons, who knows who's going to go on the side. The three players that I thought could be key in this for either side, Ruffy: Griffiths, Roberts and Brown, Miller, Tavernier and Halliday, because I think Andy Halliday is a fan's favourite. He's got to win that battle in the middle of the park. He will undoubtedly have a few crunching tackles with Brown. Patrick Roberts, Griffiths is a goal scorer, but Tavernier, and I think the experience of Kenny Miller's invaluable because he's been there. He knows what it takes. Yeah,
I would say Kenny Miller, Lee Griffiths as well. Lee Griffiths, everything that seems to come to him in the box, he's hitting the back of the net, at least hitting the target. And the Motherwell second goal was just Lee Griffiths. You know, he's getting the breaks, he's getting that. But I always think, maybe it's just me, but I just think when you get to cup finals, goalkeepers win you cup finals, and we've seen it in the past 2 or 3 years. They've had a big say in who's been winning them.
Yeah, and Craig Gordon and Wes Fotheringham then is down to those two as well. They could be key players on the day, as Ruffy mentioned.
They will be. They'll both be tested. Peter, there's no doubt about that, because both teams will go out and attack. But I just think that Celtic, you look through the squads, in a one-off game, anything can happen. You look at Ross County against Celtic, the League Cup semi-final. Celtic won up, cruising. Ambrose is sent off. Ross County won the game. Credit to them for that. But Celtic have a better squad. They have better players. That's the way it should be, because of the difference in budgets. So for that reason, I think Celtic will win the game, but I think it'll be very tight, and I wouldn't be surprised also if that game goes to extra time.
Okay, thanks to Mark Guidi and Alan Ruff for joining me on tonight's programme. Join us tomorrow. We're going to have Alec Ray on the programme. He'll give us his Old Firm memories as well. Thanks for joining us. Good night.